Hi ladies, I thought you might like to have just a little bit of an upskill, and remember our half square triangles. Well, we can make quarter square triangles in a similar way. So these are unfinished, individual blocks, unfinished at 3.5 inches. So if you want to use these in your current blocks for the sampler quilt, you could either make 16 or you can do 8 and do opposite blocks, use them as a design opportunity. So what do we need to do? We need to cut 2 squares, contrasting fabrics. They say in the books 4 3/4. I cut them at 5 inches just to give myself that little extra for trimming up, for squaring up. So I have my pencil line, exactly as you do with half square triangles, pencil line from corner to corner, and I have machined 2 lines 1/4 inch apart on either side. I separated them and have my 2 pieces. I pressed them to the darker side, which in my case is the blue. Now I'm going to lay them one on top of the other, and I'm going to nest this diagonal seam. So this time I want a blue and pink and a blue and pink. So opposites. So see what I'm doing here? I'm putting opposite on top of opposite. And I'm just making sure that that diagonal seam is nesting. And just to keep it in place, no harm, just to put a little pin in it. And if you bear with me now for 2 minutes, I'm going to get the machine sewing here. I don't want to stop the film. But this is a lovely little block. And it can add a lot of drama and dimension to a quilt. I have a companion here with me. You won't see him, Gus the dog. Now, so exactly the same again. Cut through the centre on your pencil line, your drawn pencil line. And when you open out your block, you have your lovely triangles. Now, because this block is 4 pieces in it, I can rotate, I can nest those seams. So if I pull it back again, very hard to see, I didn't use a coloured thread. Bear with me now. So if you look up here on this seam here, you've the last seam you've just stitched. You have about 3 or 4 little stitches. Just unpick those stitches on one side, flip it over, and unpick the stitches on the other side. It just loosens them. Lay your block out and it will swirl, and you should get a little 4 patch in the centre, if you can see that there. I'll just pull it up for you. A little 4 patch in the centre. But you see how the seams are swirling, and that just reduces the bulk. Now you can square this up in exactly the same way. I'm just finger pressing this at the moment. Exactly the same way as we did with our half square triangles. So you have your 45-degree line and mark it. Now I know that this needs to finish at 3.5 inches, okay, but I'm not worried. So what I want to make sure is that that I have enough here. So if it finishes at 3.5 inches on the diagonal, we just have to find the centre part for that, which would be 1 3/4. So we see 3.5, 3.5. So I'm going to trim that. Then I turn it, flip it round again. I haven't got my blade here. And you trim it out to your 3.5 inches. So you'll end up with your lovely block. And when you it looks like a little hourglass. When you put them together, if you can imagine now, it's going to create a lot of movement in a particular block, so it is. So on average, if you want to make a bigger block, if you think about your finished size, or your unfinished size is 3.5 inches, you need to add 1.75 inches minimum to it. But I always add the extra, I add the 2 inches, and it just gives me more for trimming up and squaring up that quilt. That quilt block. Okay, ladies, let's see how we go with that.